Well, hello and welcome back to my channel. It is now about a month since I began planting my indoor seed starts. So I've been posting all along as I've been planting some of the things, but I wanted just to go ahead and kind of give a comprehensive update about where my seeds are right now. They've been started at different times over the month of January and a couple into February. Today is February 7th. It's Friday, February 7th. I began planting my first starts on Friday, January 10th. And then I planted some more, just different varieties, different times, different kinds of plants. So I've been planting things throughout the month. So I want to show you kind of different stages of growth. So today is actually sort of mild, and tomorrow is supposed to be kind of very cold. So today is actually a good day to be outside. And I have actually been putting some of my plants, I'll tell you which ones, out to enjoy the sunshine and toughen up. I did a little video on that as well. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look. So on the table, you see all of the plants, most of which are things that can tolerate the cold. And I put them in sort of family groups and according to when they are planted. The very first things that I planted way back on January 10th were artichokes. And I planted these indoors on some heat and on a radiator in the bathroom. And as soon as they sprouted, I put them under the lights. Here they are now, exactly 1 month old. They have their first true leaves. 1, 2 true leaves. This one is a little bit behind, but it's starting to get its first true leaves here. This one is a little bit behind too, but it's got its first true leaves. This is just an extra Chinese cabbage plant that I've stuck in here to give it some space. So these are 1 month old. These artichokes just sprouted yesterday. They were planted on the 29th of January. So they are only about a week old at this point. Maybe a little bit more, 8 days. So they sprouted in about 1 week, and they're still sprouting. This one came up today. These came up earlier. So and here's one just popping out. You're going to go back into the light. So this is 1 month old and about 8 days old. The other things that I planted on the 10th were some abundant Bloomsdale spinach. And that sprouted in about a week, and it is coming along strong. Don't worry about these little yellow leaves. Those are just the first leaves. And these plants are strong. They've got multiple leaves on them. This is Beaujolais spinach, and it was planted on the 20th. So those are about 10 days younger and a different variety than the abundant Bloomsdale spinach. But both had good germination and are doing very well. The next group of plants that I planted were alliums of different sorts. The very first things I planted on the 19th were some onions of different varieties. Now these onions are starting to get their first true leaves. You can see the leaf coming up. Oops, maybe not. Coming up and coming out right down here. So now that they're getting their true leaves, I'm going to start to fertilize them. These are 3 different kinds of onions: the early Texas grano, the Rosa de Milano, and the Granax onions. Good germination, and they're still even coming up. Look, right there. This is the King Zig leeks, and they are starting also to get their first true leaves right here. They're starting also to get their first true leaves. And so today I'm actually going to fertilize them. These seeds were fresh this year. I planted some seeds from last year on the 22nd for the broad London broad leeks. And I got germination. I was a little bit surprised. Not quite as strong yet, but they're still coming up. You can see, like right here, I've still got a little bit coming up. Over here, planted on the 23rd, are chives. And this was an interesting box. These are bunching onions. And there's one set of the hardy evergreens here. On this side, I planted purple bunching onions. And you can see I've only got one that's come up. These were just planted, though, on the 27th of January. So they're just popping up, literally. So I'm hopeful that we'll see some of those purple bunching onions. If not, I'll just plant more of these evergreen hardies. Moving on to the brassica family. This is something new for me. It's Tokyo Chinese Bikana cabbage. and it is doing great. This had super fast germination. I've thinned them out already, and they are going to be ready to put in the ground when I go back to Virginia in mid-February. They are ready to go. They've got 4 true leaves, and they're growing strong. They are ready. So these were planted on the 20th, so they're about 3.5 weeks old. These were just planted on the 29th. They sprouted in about 2 days, and they are growing along very, very well. So I'll have sort of some waves of the Tokyo Picata Chinese cabbage. Planted on the 23rd were lettuces. These are my first wave of lettuce. There are 4 different kinds in here, and they are growing very well. You can see the first, they've got true leaves on all the plants. So they will also be put into the ground, probably the 3rd week, maybe 4th week of February. Finally, let's go with the various brassicas over here. Now, the very first ones that I planted were on the 22nd, some cauliflower and some dazzling blue kale. Now, I'm going to show you something. I'm pretty sure that this is a red Russian kale and not a dazzling blue because of the way its first true leaf is forming, versus this one, which I'm pretty sure is a dazzling blue kale. See the difference? You can't really tell when they're first coming up, but I definitely think that that is a red Russian kale. All right, so these were planted on the 22nd, and they are starting to get their first true leaves now. These ones, this is, let's see, some early Jersey Wakefield cabbage, and this is some Chicheco broccoli, I believe. And they were both planted on the 27th of January. Today is the 7th of February, so a couple of weeks ago. And they are coming along. They have not yet gotten their first true leaves. They are about a week, about 5 days behind these guys. And finally, here's some red acre cabbage that just sprouted today. This was planted a week ago on the 31st of January. And you can see, there they come up. All right, let's go back to the back row. Here are some Shasta daisies planted very early on the 22nd. And this is lemon bergamot monarda that was also planted on the 22nd. They take a lot longer to grow. But surprisingly, the dill that I sowed on the 27th has sprouted like crazy. This is tetradill. And this one, which I planted on the 31st, not expecting to see it for about 3 or 4 weeks, sprouted immediately. This is the mammoth dill. So happily, I'm going to have lots and lots and lots of dill. Now let's go inside and take a look at a few others that I haven't chosen to bring outside. Not everything has sprouted, and don't be discouraged if things don't sprout. Some things just take a lot longer, and some things might not sprout at all. So I'm going to show you what's going on with my peppers, my hot peppers, as well as my sweet peppers, which just got planted. So I'm really not expecting to see anything. I also have some mountain mint and some parsley, as well as some 4 o'clocks flowers that I've planted that have not yet sprouted. But I will show you a couple of little surprises. These are my peppers, and they've been downstairs on the heat and the hot mat and under lights. And they only were planted, oh golly, when? The sweet peppers were planted on the 1st, and the hot peppers were planted on the 29th. Peppers take a good while to germinate. They can take like up to 2 weeks and sometimes even 3 weeks for hot peppers. And that is why this positively stunned me. Yesterday, I went down to the basement and I saw this. This is a serrano pepper. And today, here's another and another. And I think there's one poking through right here. And as I look at it, right here as well. So those are hot serrano peppers, and they've had great germination. And so I'm very surprised to see those pop up so early, but not unhappy about it. So far, not as expected, the other peppers have not yet sprouted. Now for this, you're going to have to look really, really carefully. See that itty bitty bitty bit of green down there? Let me see if I can put this down. I'm actually in the sink, so I can hold it steady. That is mountain mint. And that little speck of green is mountain mint, as is that little speck of green. These are mountain mint, which is a Virginia, it's a East Coast, Eastern American native, and I'm really pleased to see that sprouting. I did a video on this about a week ago, and I'm astonished to see it beginning to germinate already. I think this will take a while to grow. Now, I'm not sad or surprised not to see germination here. These are 4 o'clocks, which are a type of flower annuals, and I planted them on the 1st of February. They have not yet sprouted, nor has the purple echinacea that was planted on the 31st sprouted, nor has the parsley. This is absolutely not a surprise. And here, butterfly weed that was planted back on the 10th, which I'm not seeing any signs of germination. So we'll keep an eye on those to see how they do. As you can see, I'm still in my city house. I'll be transporting things down to the country in the middle of the week next week, and I'll post the hilarious plant transfer, which is always fun and games. So I hope you enjoyed this little update. I'm doing these updates as much for me and my own records, so I can really see and have a visual record from year to year of how things go, so I can compare. But so far, so good. Things are growing, and I hope your garden is growing well too, and I hope you're well. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye. Grow, little guys.